this is Miss Melissa. I'm here to do some Halloween crafts with you. These are ones that anyone can do. I basically went online and I wanted to find some crafts I could do with popsicle sticks. And I found all kinds of different patterns that gave me ideas. I'll show you some of them, but you could go on Pinterest and find your own ideas. There are witches' houses that you can make with popsicle sticks. There's candy corn. You can use popsicle sticks to make spiders or to make little apples and apple picture frames. These were some blocks, but you could use this same pattern and idea with popsicle sticks. You can make vampires and ghosts with popsicle sticks. You can make witches and all kinds of different monsters, whatever you can imagine out of them. I found another kind of witch and these owls, which were really cute. That also took me to some squares. This is a mummy, a Frankenstein, and that's a vampire, or maybe a monster. And then here's some other ones. Here's a ghost, an owl, a monster, a Frankenstein monster, a cat. This blue one's a monster. There's a mummy. There's a jack-o'-lantern. And there's another vampire, though he's not showing his fangs. He could be showing his fangs. Here's a little ghost window made out of a handprint. And then here's some squares. It's a Frankenstein monster, a mummy, and a jack-o'-lantern. These are blocks, but these were the ones that I used to get the idea for what I'm going to show you today. But as you can see, there's all kinds of ideas out there on Pinterest. Now, I am using regular sized popsicle sticks, but you can buy, this is a regular sized one, about as long as my hand here. You can buy wider ones that are longer. You can buy ones that are this long. You can buy really teeny short ones about as short as my pinky finger. So there's all kinds of sizes. These can be found at Walmart or online or at a craft store. So you can decide what size you want. I have used these to make Easter signs, other Halloween signs, to make Christmas signs. You can just go with your imagination, imagine all kinds of things. But since this is a Halloween craft, I wanted to show you how to make a Halloween craft. Now, what I first did was, because this is for me and no one else is going to actually be using this one, I went through and picked out the ugliest popsicle sticks I had so that I could use them for my example. We have for you here at the Ripley Library packets that have all the pieces that you need to make both of these crafts. And for you, I picked out nice looking popsicle sticks. But since mine's an example, I picked out the ugly ones, and it was kind of fun. First, I went through and divided, someone had given us a bunch of different colored popsicle sticks. So I got out the orange ones and then just the ones that weren't colored at all. So the orange ones, I'm not going to have to paint to do a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern face. But if you want to make more besides the ones that we give you the supplies for, you can always paint them. Just get your regular brown ones, or they do sell colored ones. So just whatever you like. And you know, like I said, for different holidays you can use different colors and different sizes. The orange ones, I started out, I picked the prettiest side, and that's the side that I'm laying flat down on the table. As you can see, some of the sides have some markings on them and things like that. A couple of these are a little bit bent. Trees don't grow straight, and when they cut popsicle sticks, they don't always get them cut straight, or they twist after they've been cut just because of the moisture in the trees and the moisture in the air. So I laid them all flat on the table, and I picked how many I wanted to use by how long a popsicle stick is, because to make a sign you need to brace the back of the popsicle sticks and stick them all together. So the length of these regular size popsicle sticks is, if I laid the others side to side and then laid these two popsicle sticks perpendicular and the other one's vertical, up and down, and perpendicular is this way, or horizontal, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 orange popsicle sticks laid out here because that will cover up 2 popsicle sticks laid sideways. They don't stick out. Now, I'm terrible with lining things up straight, so I brought a ruler over here and I lined all the popsicle sticks up, and then I just scooted them forward with a ruler just to get them straight. I will still probably knock them crooked, but that's okay. Crafting isn't always perfect, and perfect is the enemy of cute. Alright, I've started with some hot glue gun, and you need to be careful. If you're using a hot glue gun, ask your parents for permission. Ask them for help. I always use the low temp glue guns with the multi-temp glue sticks, because the really hot ones really burn a lot. They get really hot, and the low temp ones usually work for any of the crafts that I use. Now, the packages that we have made up for you here at the library, I will already have the glue sticks, I already have the popsicle sticks glued together. But in case you want to make some more things yourself, I wanted to show you how I got them glued together. So I've got my glue gun. I've been having it heat up for the past several minutes while I got everything organized. And I'm going to take one of these popsicle sticks and I'm going to glue the hot glue just in a strip down the side of it. And then I'm going to, ouch, 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 lay it flat. Ouch, 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 ouch. Like I said, it gets hot, but it doesn't burn as much as a hot glue gun. And there, because I dropped it, I made them all crooked. So I'm going to line them back up. One thing with the hot glue guns, the glue is still pliable a little bit, and you can always heat it back up if you need to loosen it up. Now that's a little loose. Sometimes where the popsicle sticks have twisted because the wood is a living product, sometimes they don't lay flat, or they're curved. Like, for instance, this one's got a big gouge where the knot of a tree was in it, or this one here is really curvy. Like I said, I used the ugly ones. You probably want to use straight ones, unless you just want to use up your ugly ones on something that's not going to show. So they don't always lay exactly flat, but that's okay because it's going to be covered up. Now, one thing I will tell you, if you don't use colored glue, colored popsicle sticks, and you're wanting to make a sign and you want that sign to be colored, the best thing to do is to paint the sticks ahead of time. Over the COVID quarantine, I was doing some signs, some Easter signs, since we got shut in March, starting in March. I was doing some Easter signs with my nephew and niece, and they decided, first I glued all the popsicle sticks together, and then I asked them what color they wanted the signs. Well, they decided they wanted them striped, and that took me forever to get them striped without getting paint on the other popsicle sticks. So if you paint them first, then you can glue them together a lot easier, and you don't have to stay up half the night trying to keep pink paint off of blue paint. Alright, that one's on there. Now I'm going to glue this one, hopefully without burning my fingers again. And then I will try to get a little bit more glue on the first one, since it's not sticking exactly right. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. My mom always tells me to use toothpicks to move this stuff around, but do I ever remember? No, not until I've already burned myself. The hot glue does dry pretty quickly. There's always little, looks like spider webs, it's just the glue strings. Okay, now I've got that glued down. Now I'm going to glue underneath, especially on the first one where it didn't stick down very far. And if you're using a hot glue gun, once your glue stick gets used up halfway, you got to add another one, because you can't shoot glue because there's no glue for the gun to grab hold of. I'm just gluing along the edge of the popsicle stick here, and I'll show you here in a minute what I did. I just can't pick it up until I get it all done. This is another thing, if you paint your popsicle sticks ahead of time, you do end up, if you end up with some gaps, you can always go back and fill the gaps in, because paint will stick to the hot glue. So like on my nephews and nieces, where there were some gaps on their Easter signs, where the hot glue was showing, I was just able to paint right onto the glue. Okay, I've glued these together. This is what they look like. Okay, on the front, the pretty side, it looks like this. And you can see there are a few gaps. It's not perfect, but it'd take too long to get it perfect. But on the back, it just looks like a fence. And you've got the two stretched across, and I made sure they were good and glued. I shifted one to make sure I got this in, so this one shifted a little bit towards my right, and this one shifted a little bit towards my left, so that I do have glue and a stick holding every single one of these popsicle sticks together. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to quickly glue this other one while my hot glue gun is hot and while my fingers are already burned. That way that's done and I don't have to worry about it again. This is why I said make sure you get your mom's permission to use her hot glue gun, or have her do it for you, or your dad, or growing up somebody who's good with hot glue guns. And you can do this with any size popsicle stick, like I said. The Easter signs that I did with my niece and nephew, we used a great big long popsicle stick. So they made a sign about this big, and I think we made 2 signs for each of them, maybe 3. That's one reason why it took so long. But my niece, Audrey, actually chose one of the signs. She had me paint it in her teacher's favorite colors so she could give it to her at the end of the 2019-2020 school year, because she missed seeing her teacher at the end of the year since no one was able to go to school because of the COVID pandemic. Alright, I'm just gluing down the edges just to make sure this sticks. If it doesn't stick, I can always go back and glue it. Hot glue does not take that long to heat back up. Alright, that's glued. I'm going to set that over to the side. Now, because I glued this crooked, because it was hard to do it straight, I'm going to turn it this way, because I don't know if you can tell, up here at the top, the popsicle sticks are closer together, and they're kind of spread out here at the bottom. So this is going to be the bottom of my jack-o'-lantern, this is going to be the top. Now, we also had a bunch of twisted up chenille stems, or pipe cleaners we used to call them when I was in school. The twistier the better, because you want it to look like a pumpkin vine. And this is another thing that you're going to hot glue on. I just bend it in half and have it twisted, and I'm just going to glue it here on the top. You can use, I've got lighter green ones. If you want, I just picked this one. It was the twistiest. And I'm going to just put the glue right on the popsicle stick and lay the chenille stem right in it. And then I'm actually going to glue on top of it too, because I don't want it to fall off. I'd rather use too much glue than not enough. Okay, let's see, if I had remembered to bring a toothpick like my mom tells me to, I could have smashed that down and held it. I'm going to use this pen because I should be able to pull the glue off of the pen. And scrape it off. Now that gives me some leaves and sort of like a stem for my popsicle stick jack-o'-lantern. If you wanted to make, like this is those are the vines. If you wanted to make a little leaf, this is just a teeny piece of a chenille stem that was left over. You can bend it in half like that. And I think it's kind of cute that way. I think I will hot glue it on there too, like it's a leaf. Just sticking up. Now I had originally thought that I would put a green popsicle stick onto this to make it look like the stem, and then when I got to looking on Pinterest and saw that people used chenille stems, I thought, oh, those look really cute. Those look better than using a green popsicle stick. Yeah, make sure that you get maybe even either a toothpick or another popsicle stick so that you can shove your stuff down under the hot glue without burning yourself, though it's not really that hot now. It's just kind of annoying because it sticks on everything. But there, it kind of looks like a little bit of a leaf. And then to make this, if I'm wanting to make this a sign to where it will hang up, which is what I usually do, you just cut a length of yarn or twine, any color. Couldn't find my twine, so I'm using yarn. And again, this is something that you will hot glue onto the back of your sign, and it will hold really well. If you don't want it to be something that hangs, you could probably figure out a way to make it stand up. You could also put magnets on the back of it to where it could stick like to your refrigerator, though you would probably have to put the magnets on the horizontal, perpendicular, sideways popsicle sticks, because if you put the magnets on the up and down ones, I don't think they're thick enough to hold on to the refrigerator or whatever with the other popsicle sticks on there. So I would stick the magnets onto here. But I haven't tried that, but that's my suggestion. Okay, here it is with the string, so I can hang it up. I'm not actually holding it by the string because the glue's still hot and it would pull. Anyway, this is my pumpkin. Now, if you just want a pumpkin, you can leave it like this. Or, if you want to have a jack-o'-lantern, I have put in pieces of craft foam that you can use for a jack-o'-lantern face. Now, what I started with just paper, and I made myself some drawings, and then from the drawings, I cut them out, and then I put them on cardboard so I would have something easy to trace around, and then I traced my things that I wanted onto craft foam. I did some yellow ones, and I did some black ones because I wasn't sure whether you wanted to have your jack-o'-lantern lit up or not lit up. If it was lit up, it would be yellow. If it was not lit up, it would be black. Now, I also have included in your packet, you have a choice of eyeballs, and I bought, just because I think they're really cool, I bought some colored eyeballs. I mean, they're all kinds of colors, green and red and pink and blue, and yellow. But you can also get the regular black eyeballs. All this stuff is at craft stores or online at Walmart. I'm not going to use the wiggly eyeballs for my jack-o'-lantern. I am going to use the craft foam eyeballs. Now, I've included several pieces in your little packet so that you can decide what shape mouth and eyes you want. If you notice on jack-o'-lanterns, some of them have round eyes and noses, some of them have triangles, some of them have squares. It's whatever shape. I kind of just cut out a sort of round shape, and then you can trim it with a good pair of scissors, and you can trim them. You can make them whatever shape you want them. I think I will make mine a triangle, or at least I'll show you a triangle, and I'll show you a circle, and you can decide which one you like best. It's up to you because it is your jack-o'-lantern. It can be exactly the way you want it to be. Craft foam can be bought at craft stores again, and online, and at Walmart. All of these craft supplies here are usually in the kids' crafts aisle. And I think I'll do a triangle nose also for my jack-o'-lantern. Okay, there's him with his triangle noses and triangle eyes and nose. He only has one nose. Okay, you can glue these on with tacky glue, which I like to do, or with Elmer's glue, just to make it faster. I'm going to use hot glue. If you're not good at figuring out cutting shapes freehand, which the circles I actually traced onto the craft foam, triangles you just watched me sit and cut, trace them. That way you get close to whatever it is whatever shape you want. And then whenever you go to glue it on, I'll show you an example here. This is where I traced, I don't know if you can see it, onto the yellow, and you can see the black line where I traced. Okay, that's the side that you put the glue on, so the black line isn't showing when you glue it onto your pumpkin. Now, I also cut out mouths, and notice it's a great big humongous mouth because I thought you might want to make your mouth smile or frown. You might want to make it with scary looking teeth. You know, I wasn't sure. It's your mouth. You can do whatever you want to with it. And I'm just freehanding this, and we'll see if it turns out into anything cool. It's hard to tell. I am not as crafty sometimes as I think I'm going to be. Let me see. See if I can get some teeth. That doesn't look right. Well, let me just try it, because I've already started. And then it can kind of look like he's got some missing teeth. I've included several pieces in your packet so that you can make them look however you want, and if you mess up, you can have more. Actually, that doesn't look that bad now that I look at it. And there's my pumpkin, my jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to glue that on. Now, if you wanted him to be a lit up jack-o'-lantern, you can use the yellow for a lit up jack-o'-lantern. And you can make him smile. You can make him look like his eyes are wide open and his mouth is wide open, like he's screaming or something. You can make him look however you want to. He's your jack-o'-lantern. And of course you can make a bunch of them if you want and have a whole bunch of them lined up in your house somewhere, in your room or on your locker at school, or even take them to school and give to people, give to your friends. But there's my jack-o'-lantern sign all done. Now, I'm going to do one other. I'm going to do a Frankenstein monster. And usually, you will hear people call him a Frankenstein, but if you read the book, which it's actually a grown-up book, and so you might want to get a kid's version, but we have them at the library. Frankenstein was the name of the doctor who invented the monster, Dr. Frankenstein. And the thing that we usually see, the picture with the hair and the green face and stuff, he's actually Frankenstein's monster because he's Dr. Frankenstein's monster, the monster Dr. Frankenstein made. Now, I have green paint, but I couldn't figure out a way to give green paint to you in the little Ziploc bag craft supply things. So, since I couldn't figure that out, I did the next best thing and I got green craft foam. And I cut it approximately the size of the popsicle sticks, as you can see there. It's a little bit bigger, but it's better to be too big than not big enough. Now I do have, I notice I still have a little bit of a line here where I traced it, and this side's got some dirt on it. Looks like I stepped on it or something. Or sometimes craft foam gets weird markings on it just because they make it on machines, and you know, machines aren't always clean. So what I'm doing is I'm trimming off the yucky parts. And believe me, when I did this, I used a ruler and measured it out because I can't draw a straight line unless I have a see-through ruler. Okay, this is my green craft foam. I'm going to glue onto my popsicle sticks. I'm just going to quickly put glue all over the hot glue because it's a little bit faster and it dries faster, and that way I can show you what I've done. I'm going to put hot glue all over the top of this, which you want to do this part fast if you're using hot glue because it will dry pretty fast, faster than you can get your craft foam on there. But if I could have figured out a way to get green paint to you, I would have just given you green paint to paint your popsicle sticks. But anyway, that's where I've got the craft foam glued onto my sticks. Now I just realized I may have put it on sideways. I also measured and cut out hair for Frankenstein. And then I traced it onto cardstock because it's easier when you're drawing something or tracing around something to trace around cardboard than it is paper, because paper will wiggle, that's hard to say. And then I traced it onto craft foam. Now, a lot of times I use pencil on craft foam because ink will smear as you run your hand over it and it makes everything yucky. Either way, it's hard to see on black foam. Like I said, you want to be careful that you don't smear the ink on your smiley face. And then, if you notice on a Frankenstein monster, he usually has, looks like stitches, where he was stitched together. So draw your stitches wherever you want to. You just draw a straight line, a long one, and put some little cross lines beside it, or across it. Just short cross lines, and one long one. Now, if you also notice, Frankenstein has these little bolts sticking out from the side of his head. I think that's where his head was bolted to his neck. So I have some shiny, sparkly silver craft foam that we can use for bolts, and there is probably glitter on all this stuff because this glitter does come off, but that's okay. Glitter is fun. I'm just going to stick the bolt right there. I could stick it right down there. Looks like on that thing it put it closer to his mouth on my picture. I think I will glue it right down there. For this I'm going to use hot glue just to make it faster. And when I did this, oh rats, I glued it on the wrong side. That's all right. When I drew this, I drew on the back of the craft foam because the back of it's white. That way I didn't mess up the glitter when I traced around the bolts. So then when I put the glue on the bolt, since I'm sticking it to the back, I put the glue on the silver side. And I just had to make my bolts long enough so they would stick out the side of his head. And there you have your Frankenstein monster and your jack-o'-lantern. And I hope this gives you ideas where you can make a bunch of other cute things. Come into the library. We have plenty of these craft packages together, and you can have fun. Notice you might have lots of spider webs on the back, but that's okay. Nobody sees the back. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.